Hello and welcome to a windy day on the Kyle Conner YouTube channel, and welcome to another video. This is my Ford F-350 Super Duty, and I'm happy to report that it is fixed and recently serviced. And I'm going to give you a little update on this truck, because the last video that I shot on this truck, it had a hole in the front of it right here. The hood was smashed in, and it really didn't look like it was in good shape. And that's because I was following my buddy Danny. And Danny's our sort of car hauler. He moves all of my cars around, and he's a good friend of mine. And his trailer had a malfunction, and I won't go into the full story because I've already shared it, but basically a giant metal brake drum, entire wheel hub came up and boom, smashed the front of the truck, and got so lucky because if it was just a few inches higher, or I had not swerved, it would have gone through the windshield and it could have been a bad day. And thankfully, no one was hurt. Everyone was okay. The truck actually showed no faults. It performed wonderfully, but I have the bill for how much it cost to fix it. And you will not believe how expensive it is to fix modern automobiles because, wow, just a little hole and a ding and a hood pushed in was over $11,000. So I'm going to tell you about the repair. We're going to go through everything, and I'll bring you up to speed on some recent maintenance I've done to this truck and some future plans, some things that I have coming. It is unbelievably windy out here right now, so let's go in the truck to do the video. Honestly, shout out to DJI microphones, because I don't know how anyone could hear me out there.
Yeah.
That was incredible. All right, so here is the... I'm making sure there's nothing on here that anyone can't see, and we're good. This is the Carolina Collision Center's Capital Ford Raleigh final bill. Now, this truck had the accident happen, I can't remember the exact day, but it was basically in for service within 2 to 3 weeks. It was fixed within 1 week of dropping it off. Really huge shout out to Carolina's Collision Centers at Capital Ford in Raleigh, North Carolina. They turned this thing around so fast. And if you notice the front of the truck, I got a new grille. I got a black grille from the new 2026 model that they put on there, which looks great and way better than the ugly chrome polished aluminum look plastic stuff that was on there before. Guys, we just came down here about a week after dropping off the F-350 and this Tesla Model X to Carolina's Collision Centers, and man, have they turned around my truck real quick. Now, before I show you this, I want to talk to you about something. They asked, well, I guess Scott asked them, hey, since you're doing a repair, can you put a different grille on the truck? I really did not like the factory brushed aluminum grille on an all black truck. It just didn't look right to me. So the grille that I thought I was going to get was this one right here. And you can see it's got these sort of two complete ovals that run alongside the front. And I think it looks okay like this. And you can see this one is a, where does it even say? 2025 Super Duty. And this one has a different grille on it. And it's a 2026. So I think the 2026s get this new style front grille that looks better than the 2025. It's a little busy, and this reminds me more of the dually front end grille. The dually grills always did not have those lines, those bars that would run through the front like that right there. And I think it looks, you know, as a side-by-side, so much more aggressive like this. Now, this is sort of a base truck, but they made it in a gloss form, which is this right here. And I think this is what they put on my truck. Now, mine does not have that cool black Ford logo. I definitely think we got to do that as we continue to get the truck all blacked out. But damn, it looks so much better with the new grille. We got to get the black Ford logo. But I love it. It's just so much more aggressive than that limited grille that had the sort of brushed aluminum on there. So, yeah, what do you think of the new grille, Scott?
My gift to you, because that's what I told the guy you wanted.
Yeah, but it's the new 2026 grille, which I didn't even know was changed. It looks awesome.
Welcome.
So let's look at the work.
Looks pretty sick.
Looks awesome. So I love it. It's the gloss versions, really cool.
Yes, this is new.
New headlight.
Wow. No dent in here.
That's right. No dent. You can see they have some compounding marks, and I'm sure, like I mentioned, Colton's paint quality review, it's not going to be that. This is a freshly painted piece.
Right. Important to note that I did request that they not wash it.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
So that's why it's dirty, but typically they do run it through the wash for you here.
Oh, yeah. Don't like it when people wash my stuff.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah, you've done that. And then got into an accident.
I got an accident
in the car.
inside of the car wash.
That's not why I don't like things to be washed, but damn, it looks awesome, Scott, and just totally thrilled with the turnaround time. What's the total bill?
Total bill out the door is...
Of course, covered by insurance.
Yes.
Whoa, lots of numbers.
Okay,
oh my God.
Total bill out the door is $11,009.30.
So 11 grand.
Original estimate was $8,158.
Wow, so they found $3,000 of extra stuff. And they used all Ford OE components, so it's ready to roll.
Yep, that's why we took it specifically here, and they have a really quick turnaround time.
Right, and this is at a Ford specific collision center.
Yeah. Here
Yeah.
in Raleigh.
Yeah, so all right, well, that's fun. We're going to pick it up and drive it back. They said the sensors should all be calibrated and everything. They went through that, even though I don't think it needed it.
No, but they did it just to do the right thing.
They did it. Okay. So let's roll. Man, I'm so happy to have my truck back. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
I really wanted the platinum, no, what is this thing? A limited truck. You can see that right there. I really wanted the limited truck because I like the light color interior and I wanted all the features and the big engine. And it's like by the time you spec one up, this is the only way to get the nice interior. But I hate the wheels. I hated the chrome all around the truck. And thankfully all of that is easily able to be fixed. But we ended up using the truck, towing with it a lot. This thing was put to work and now I have over 11,000 miles on it in just a few months of ownership. And keep in mind, this truck I bought brand new. We've done the videos on the channel. You know, this thing really only gets used for long distance towing. I mean, I do drive it around occasionally without a trailer, but this is really a tow rig. And I want to talk to you about some wheel suspension, some other stuff that I've been looking into to make this more of a fun vehicle for the channel. Okay, so here's everything that we did to it. We had to go with a warning label for the fan, a R&I bumper assembly. So I think that's remove and install, but I didn't need a new bumper. I think that's just labor time. We needed to aim the camera. Here, this is expensive. That grill that we talked about, the grill assembly without tremor, $1,405 OE grill. Everything here is OEM because we went to a specific Ford repair shop. So the grill alone, $1,500. Now, what's cool about that is I was actually going to get a grill, probably off of a crash truck on eBay or something. And now we got it here. So, you know, thanks, Danny. Appreciate it. We had a emblem with front camera, with the camera not included, was $250. I wish they would have spec'd the black emblem if they were already in there doing this, but okay, that's fine. Some tabs were broken. Tabs were broken on this lower cover. One of the headlights was crazy expensive. $1,600 for a headlight. Now, that's also $1,400 for a grill. Let's pop back outside real quick because I want everyone to see this. This is crazy. And it looked like the wind was dying down a little bit, and it's fine. So this grill, just this piece, $1,500. Just that headlight, $1,600. So if you needed to do a front end job on this truck, like let's say you just casually rear end someone, which is not casual, of course, especially with forward collision warning, but a little bump or someone backs into you, whatever, $1,500, $1,500, $1,500. That's an insane amount of money. You're into this by the time you factor in everything, over $5,000, maybe $6,000 if you include the hood, just on repairing the front end of a brand new truck. And this is a Ford Super Duty, one of the more popular vehicles on the road. This is not a fancy, you know, something crazy exotic. It's just modern cars are getting so expensive. Okay, so we needed to do the headlight assembly platinum or limited. We did the AIM headlights. We did RHID box transfer. I don't know what that would be. Let me know if you know. Let's see. They did radiator supports. This is a lot of the air deflectors, upper tie bar, deflector, diesel engine. A lot of that's just like weird air deflection stuff that's all back in there. Yeah, so a lot of it is just what was under the hood that they fixed. And we should pop the hood because I actually have not since we've taken delivery. And I'll explain that. We needed an auxiliary radiator. Now we need a PS cooler. I don't know what that is. An aux radiator without high output. Now what's interesting is this truck has the high output engine. So I think we actually should give the collision center a call and just make sure that it's the same part. Because this does have the high output engine and upper hose without high output, but it is a high output. So they removed and replaced the condenser. That was $474. So we got a brand new AC condenser. We had an AC service from an evacuate and recharge. And whoa, it's so windy. We got to get back in the truck. I don't know what is happening weather-wise around here, but it was so nice and like 70 degrees earlier. And now it's getting cold and windy. So they did a whole air conditioning situation. The hood was the cheapest out of everything. That was less than $1,000 for a hood. They needed to do paint and clear coat and stuff. Engine things, inlet, just small things, disconnect battery. They charged money for that. That's really funny. Needed some coolant, and it needed a pre-repair scan, a post-repair scan, and a calibrate front radar sensor, which is funny because the adaptive cruise control worked even after the accident. So I figured they would not need to calibrate the radar, but maybe since they had the whole front end of the truck off, they needed to recalibrate. With all that said, $7,200 in parts just from that one little nick, $1,160 in miscellaneous stuff, and then labor, all in with sales tax. We're into this thing for $11,009.30. The original estimate was $8,158, which I thought was like, whoa, that's high. But then I was like, oh, that headlight. I was thinking the headlight would be the big hit. Surprisingly, it's like the grill is also insanely expensive. So $11,009.30 to repair my Super Duty. Now, a couple things happened when it was in for repair. And maybe what we'll do is we'll go up over by the trees so it won't be as windy, Scott. But a couple things happened since we took delivery. I started to drive the truck from when we took it from the collision center, and I was like, there's a couple things that are better here. The first is that when I'm towing, my diesel gauges, here I'll go into the tow screen right here into tow haul. I usually keep on my diesel gauges on the driver instrument cluster right here. And it's a really nice design thing. This is one of the reasons I went for the Ford over a Chevy, for example, or GMC, is they give you so much data. But I wasn't able to keep up my general or diesel measurements while I was in tow mode before. There was some software bug that would be like, while you're towing, this is the stuff you want to see. And I tow a lot with this truck, and that would go away. That has since not become a problem. So I am convinced that they somehow updated the software on this truck, because when you and Timon dropped this truck off at the collision center, Scott, you guys told them, because it's at a Ford place, we had some other problems with it. For example, the lane centering was a little bit weird, and that's gotten way better after we got it back as well. Maybe the whole front end just needed to be calibrated, but this genuinely has like more, it's still pretty terrible, but way better lane centering on the highway, and some software bugs are fixed. And most importantly, my transmission shifts differently and feels better. And what I mean by that is, it used to stumble around with gear sometimes, and there would always be that 3 to 4th gear flare where there was a pause, and it would kind of, basically cut forward momentum and then get into 4th gear and stumble up. And I was always like, how could a brand new truck be tuned so poorly to have such a weird flare from 3 to 4th gear? And it turns out that's a common problem on a lot of these 10-speed Ford transmissions. It has to do with the way that the clutch packs inside the transmissions have to unload and relock for 4th gear and above. And I don't know 100%, but I'm guessing they did a relearn on the transmission, and it was good for about 1,000 miles, and then it just popped back up again. So I think that's something that's just a characteristic of this transmission, that unless we tune the truck, fix the transmission, we're going to have that. But they definitely did more than what they said on the piece of paper, and I'm super thankful for them to go through and update all of the software on this truck, because it genuinely drives and performs and feels like a more complete package. Just even in the way the engine comes on boost, like it's just got to have new software on everything. It feels awesome. So I'm Super pleased with that. Since that's going, let's take a look up under the hood here and make sure that everything looks good. Sweet. Okay, so if you guys remember, all of this was pushed back in the accident. This was somewhere on the other side of the engine compartment, and it looks fresh under here, except for this. That's okay though, just a little seal action. Not too worried about that. It really does look pretty clean under here, and it looks like they did a great job of buttoning everything down. I just want to make sure that the radiator and the hoses that they put on are for the high output version of this engine, which it is. The 6.7 in standard output or high output, essentially the same engine, very small tweaks, but some of that has to do with the supporting hardware. And yeah, we need to make sure that we've got all that, so I'll talk to them about it. Now, this is interesting. We are way above max on the coolant. So I may actually drain some out of here once it cools down. We'll check it once it's cool. And I'm noticing just a little bit of seepage here.
Interesting.
So that's not great either. I wonder where that's coming from.
Well, it's not.
Because we've got our charge air. That is...
It's oily.
It's oily. Yeah, and it could just be from, who knows, you know, something spilling on it genuinely. But... okay, that's maybe not ideal. So a couple things to look at under here, but in general, the truck's driving and performing fine. And honestly, they fixed this thing so fast. I can't believe that they did that so fast. And they've got the headlight in there that looks like it's filled with water when you get up close with it, but it's actually not. It's just how they are designed to be. It's called a homogeneous light pattern. Okay, what do I want to do with the Super Duty? Well, most of the time I spend my job reviewing and testing electric cars, which is kind of boring, if I'm honest. I much prefer combustion engines that make noise and do stuff. So my first go-to desire with this truck would be to delete it and tune it. I make YouTube videos. I cannot do that. This truck has to be 50 state legal. I use it for work. I have to tow with it all the time. This thing needs to stay compliant. And that's honestly a bummer. I feel like I drive so many electric miles. Let me delete my dang truck. But they won't, the damn government. So, so I've got to keep the emissions equipment on here, which I'm going to do, of course. And I'm not particularly in need of any more power. 1,200 pound-feet of torque from this truck is an unbelievable amount. And anytime I get into boost on these factory tires, it's just on the rear, and I get some axle hop on the back, and it just absolutely has more than enough power for my needs. Even towing through the mountains of Colorado, which we do quite often when we're out west at heavy loads, this thing has been amazing, and I've been more than impressed with the entire package as a tow vehicle. What I hate is the stance of the truck. And I don't think I'm not in need of a lifted truck, and I don't want to kill the truck's towing capability, but the whole thing is raked forwards. I don't know if you can see that. It's like it experienced a panic stop situation and then got stuck there. And I just don't love it, nor do I want a squatted truck. I just need a level kit on here. And that's a very common thing that truck people do, is level trucks out. And I've actually done it on other vehicles of mine. We could either just put a lift block in there, or we could go for an insane suspension system, which is my style. I'm really particular on the way vehicles drive, of course, because I test and review everything, and we live at a racetrack. And I just want things to be properly built. And so I've been browsing the Carly suspension website, and they make some amazing upgrades for these trucks. And I'm just thinking, if we go with like maybe a 37-inch tire, that's a meaty tire with a Carly sort of off-road Baja style suspension on this thing. It's just an idea. Then it would be great. Then what you do is, because you're actually going to soften the truck up a little bit, which can hurt towing capacity, is you can get their progressive air spring on the back. So once you load up the rear of the truck a little bit, when I put my trailer on here, or a fifth wheel, or a gooseneck, I can actually load it up and then rest it on the airbags. And so that way you don't squat while towing, but you retain a much more comfortable and controlled ride. And we can take this thing off-roading when we get out to sand dunes or whatever when we're traveling out west, because this truck is the truck that we are going to put cars on the trailer behind it, bring all of our cars and everything out to an event, out to a track day, out to an off-road experience, an overlanding trip, whatever it might be. But how cool would it be if we could have fun with our tow rig as well? And so that's kind of what I'm thinking. By the way, for everyone commenting about how long I had temporary plates on this truck, it has been figured out. It was one sheet of paper that was waiting at our office in Colorado that I needed to sign. Actually, Andreas just went in and signed it for me, so shout out Andreas for that. He was Kyle for a day, allegedly. Everything else on the truck has been great. I've got it bed lined. I already showed you some of this, so it's ready to rock and roll. It just really needs a facelift in terms of style and performance. I hate the suspension on this truck. It rides like ass. And even if you do a lift block, then it can really mess up the whole front geometry of the truck. Steering can get weird. And I just think it's time that we put a proper suspension system on here, get it set up right, maybe a little fender flare so we don't have poke, because I think the truck looks a little weak sauce. I actually really want an F450 with that wide front end. Scott's laughing at me right now, but every time I see a 450, I'm just like, oh damn, look how nice that front end is. The only reason I didn't buy a 450, it was the same exact price as this truck. The only reason I didn't was because it would actually put me overweight in terms of a CDL requirement. And this truck with my trailer spec'd the way I am, I'm 1 pound under maximum weight without requiring a CDL. And it's not actual weight of the vehicle, it's GVWR of truck plus trailer, so GCVWR. And if I had a 450, which would be safer, I would actually be illegal. Makes no sense, but welcome to America. I don't get it, but that's why I got a single rear wheel, 350, no wide body. But I just found some nice little flares that we could throw on this thing. Once we get that all dialed in, my buddy Eric at Drive Protected told me he will wrap the entire truck and trailer for us, which is a huge job. I mean, that's like a $30,000 job, and he's going to do custom printed everything. I'm like, dude, you're amazing. So now we've got to come up with what's the design going to be. And it will be so cool. So I just want this thing to get dialed in. You know, obviously when I think about the truck, I'm like, here's everything we got to do. Then we get sidetracked. We got Eastern Edge, everything. This gets thrown on the back burner. So we've got all 2026 to get this thing dialed in, but I can't wait to do it, because now that we've got it fixed at the body shop, we've got the new software on there, we're good to go. And I told you, one final thing as we wrap up this video on the F350, I told you I had some maintenance done to it recently. This is just general truck owner maintenance stuff. Let me show you what I've been doing. Every tank of fuel, except for a couple that we've missed, I throw in a bottle of this XPD all-in-one diesel fuel additive. If you take a look at the Oil Geek, and he partnered with another great creator online, they did a bunch of fuel additive tests for diesel trucks. Now this is like the most expensive one, but it genuinely does make a massive difference. And I can tell just at idle and just at driving when I'm running a tank with and without the fuel additive, and it just drives better with the fuel additive in there. So I run XPD. The goal is all the time in this truck, it will lubricate the fuel systems, because US diesel fuel does not have any lubrication qualities to it like European fuel will. So that's one thing that I've been doing. Just crossed 11,000 miles, so I did my 10,000 mile oil change. If you guys remember, before I even took delivery of this truck, when it had 20 miles on it or whatever, I did an oil change because it had been a year since the start of production. This was one of the trucks that sat on the lot. I think it was under a recall. They couldn't sell it. And so I did an oil change before I bought it. I did an oil change right after break-in at a couple thousand miles. I did another oil change somewhere else in there, and now I'm getting it on my every 5,000 mile rotation. So I did one at, just before 11,000 miles, oil change and fuel filter change. That's actually more expensive than I was expecting. Had it done here in town at the Ford dealer, and the main reason I went to them was I had Ford points for buying this truck, and it made it significantly cheaper. So it was like a couple $100 for an oil change and fuel filter change. Went in, they did it, she's ready to go, and she's ready for miles. And that's a good thing, because I've got to take this and my trailer out to Colorado, bring some cars, bring some chargers, bring some other stuff back out here to the track here in North Carolina. So I'm about to put a ton of miles on this truck, and now it's ready. It's totally fixed up. It's got fresh oil, fresh fuel filter. It's got XPD in there, and she's ready to roll. So that's the status on the Ford F350. I love this truck, really do, but it just needs a little bit of changes to just feel at home. We got to get rid of some of this shiny chrome stuff. I know some people like chrome, I just don't. So that's that. That's the Super Duty. If anyone wants these wheels, send me an email. I'm happy to sell them to you, because I will take these off the truck as soon as possible. They're terrible. Thanks for watching. See you on another one again soon. Bye-bye.